remembered by a lot of folks and how they were affected by probably one of the most devastating storms, tornadoes that this part of the state has ever seen. This certainly is something that affected our community in a huge way personally, affected our team, affected our families, and we all know somebody who was affected, by this storm in a pretty dramatic way. So, but I also think that because of this storm, it really galvanized the community in a lot of ways. A lot of people came together to really help each other. A lot of people contributed to what we had to do to rebuild our community, and it's actually better now than ever before. But certainly something that our presence was really necessary. Was something that we try to do a lot for a lot of people, Terry and I, Nick's kids. But I think our presence, just being there for people, was probably one of the most important things that we did. And I think it's a lesson for a lot of us to learn that when something bad happens, people need the support of other people, and it's something that really made us feel a part of the community.
Okay, and with that, Coach, we'll start with Stephen. Go ahead, Stephen.
Coach, I remember you talked about getting your team to band together to go out there and help the community during that time. But how special was it for you to see the 2011 and 2012 football teams play for that community, win championships for that community, and just seeing how the community was in it with the football team to win those championships? How proud did that make you?
Well, I think first of all, I was really proud of our team. I think it's a really important sort of lesson of life for these guys to learn how to give back to the community, give back to our fans, give back to the people who supported us, which is exactly what I said to the players 10 years ago. And, their response to that was phenomenal in terms of things that they did out in the community to help other people. I know the players helped Miss Terry with Nick's kids. Thompson Tractor gave bulldozers, and she had Fluker on the bulldozer. And I think it galvanized our team, and I think our team really wanted to accomplish something special for the community by winning a championship. And I think that the community certainly supported the team in a different kind of spirit than we've ever had, motivated by what was, a horrific event in terms of something that we all had to deal with. But I do think there was a lot of positive lessons that were learned. Certainly, I was really proud of our team for winning the Disney Spirit Award for community service for all the things that they did to help people in the community. So it was pretty special.
And with that, we'll go to Ryan Hennessy. Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, you talk about obviously Tuscaloosa was impacted, but what does it say about the entire state, even rival schools coming over to you guys and helping out? What does it say how the state just band together as one?
Well, I think, when you're talking about something like this, you're not talking about, one school versus another. You're talking about people. And I think everybody in the state really contributed in a positive way in many different parts of the state, and especially here in Tuscaloosa. A lot of Auburn folks came up here and, helped in a lot of ways. But again, I think we're talking about people. We're not talking about, who likes what school and all that. And I think that kind of compassion is something that really makes you feel proud of being a part of the state of Alabama.
Okay, we'll go to Cecil Hurt next. Cecil, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Go ahead, Cecil.
On that day, on 10 years ago today, obviously your first priority after your family was to find the players, locate them, figure out where they were. What were the emotions that you were going through during that process?
Well, I think a lot of it was, they said there was going to be a storm. I got in a car, I drove home. There was probably, 20. Kristen was in school. Nicholas was in school here at the time. It's probably 20 girls from Kristen's sorority, at the house, boots everywhere, umbrellas everywhere, backpacks everywhere. Um, concerned for, our son and his safety because his house was significantly damaged, in the storm. And then, of course, you got your team and you got your players and how did they get affected by, what happened. So it was a pretty anxious time, to be honest with you. And that anxiety didn't really let up until, the next day when we sort of could assess the damage. We lost, one of our players lost, his fiance, which was, certainly something that was very difficult for all the players to deal with. But there was also growing out of that anxiety a tremendous response, to help people in the community. So it was a pretty anxious day, no doubt.
We'll go to Mike. Mike Tomberlin, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, how did that event kind of change or shape the way you see the role that your team plays in the community?
Well, I don't know that it really ever changed. How I think, we've always tried to get the players to be involved in the community, but sometimes it's hard for players to understand just how can I be involved, how can I help, what can I do, and I think this tragic event, just created such opportunity, to help so many people in so many ways, and I couldn't be prouder of the way our team responded, to that. And we still have lots of guys who do a really good job in community service and trying to, help other people in the community. I think compassion for other people is, a quality that sometimes gets a little undervalued, but is probably one of the best qualities anybody can have.
And we'll finish up with Steve Moulton. Steve, go ahead.
Coach, you mentioned Nick's kids already, but I do wonder from 10 years ago how much that changed you personally with the tie that you have with Tuscaloosa since that event.
I do think it sort of galvanized, us in this community in a lot of ways, a lot of relationships that were formed and forged, from what happened on that tragic day. All the people who support Nick's kids became, friends and family, and we became a part of the community. And I know Miss Terry's working on the 18th house, and that all got born out of the, this whole tornado in terms of 13 houses that we built pretty immediately, and the players' contribution to those houses. It's pretty amazing when we're building a house and two is up on the scaffold, and I got to tell Miss Terry, how can he do something on the ground? But sort of those memories and having all these young people knowing that they contributed something to help somebody else it's a really good feeling, and I think it sort of galvanized us as a part of this community.
All right, Coach. Thank you. That's all the questions we've got.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good day.